Welcome, my friends. Welcome to the Esteban Hours Week in Review. I'm Esteban, and how are you today? If you woke up, then today is a great day. All right, there's a lot of things going on in the media today. One of them being, how hot is it in your neck of the woods? It's been excruciating hot lately. I hope everyone is doing what they can to stay cool. Um, and there's water to go around for everyone. Okay. On today's docket at the Weekend Review, actually, before we get into today's docket, let's bring in our co host. We can't forget our co host, Mr. Jeremy Baker.
Good to be back. Welcome back, everybody. I
Hey,
hope
Jeremy.
everybody enjoys the show.
How you doing?
I'm good. You know me, man. I just keep moving forward no matter what happens. That's all I do.
Are you
I'm good
staying
though, man.
cool?
I'm in a good.
Are you staying cool?
No, I'm always out running around. This actually today was nice, but the last couple of days were brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, you walk out, the heat just like slaps you. It's like, oh shit.
Yes. Yes. You want to go from your car directly to your house and vice versa.
I talked to Paul the other day, and it was on the West Coast where he's at in California. It was 112.
I heard. And in Arizona.
Oh.
Yes. Yes.
So, but we're no longer in global warming. Apparently, we passed global hot, and she's went straight to global boiling.
It's a global boiling for real, right?
Didn't even enjoy hot for a while, just boiling. It's like shit.
All right. All right. On today's docket, we're going to talk about Michigan's fake electors and that they were indicted, charged and indicted. We'll get into that. We're going to talk about the Department of Justice filing a lawsuit against Texas Governor Greg Abbott. Okay, we're going to go into that and the implications that may prove to be in regards to immigration. We're going to talk about Marty Cole Wagner in regards to sexual assault of charges, right? That he's been brought up on. Then we have on the docket Monica, the singer Monica. She jumped off stage, and we're going to talk about as to what made her jump off the stage and stop singing to her fans. Then we have Twitter is back on a docket, and this time it's about Elon Musk mysteriously rebranding the Twitter brand to X. Why? We're going to discuss that. Next, we have the plea deal in regards to Hunter Biden. That just completely collapsed. And we're going to give an update on what's going on with Hunter Biden. And lastly, the Republican hypocrisy shown as in regards to Giuliani. Giuliani has now conceded his falsehoods, and we're gonna talk about that and give our opinions. We have a lot of opinions on that, on how he obviously didn't care about ruining some people's lives. Okay, let's get into it. I believe we have a guest commentator for today.
We do, and making his first ever podcast appearance.
Yay!
From Long Island, New York. I found this guy on Instagram, and he does his own memes, and his memes are just epic.
All right.
So I'm going to bring in Mike Foligno.
Hello,
Hey,
how are you guys?
Good.
How are you today?
For joining us here at the Esteban Hours Week in Review.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you're from the great old state of, excuse me, you're from New York, but you're from Long Island. How's the weather out there?
Muggy, swampy, hot, sticky. But today it's actually been pretty good. It's actually the humidity seems to have left a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah. You got enough water to go around?
Always, constantly.
All right.
I don't know if you guys noticed this, but there's been some epic thunderstorms lately in my
Oh, yeah.
area. And I know you guys
Yes.
are only like 4 hours away. My God, I posted a video on Instagram the other day. It was like a light show in the sky. And I mean, thank God it was south of me, but man, I'd never seen anything like it.
Yeah,
It was
last
just
night we
lightning
had some
after
good
lightning
ones.
after lightning.
I was just about to say that, Mike. I think last night around 8 o'clock or so, something terrible came in, and I
Yeah.
got up this morning and I saw a big branch of I have a peach tree in my backyard,
Nice.
and that was completely broken over. I was so upset.
Yeah. It was
But
crazy.
Yeah. For
Global
sure.
boiling. That
Okay.
wasn't supposed to happen in my generation. Damn it. I wanted to enjoy. I was just getting used to global warming, and now we got, oh God, it's depressing.
Skipping around.
Global
Yeah, well-
boiling. All right, we got to use that more often. All right,
sounds
guys.
awful. It does not sound appealing. Like
It
global
does, but
warming's
there's-
like, you know.
It does, but
It's a little warm.
There's some truth to that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's get started, gentlemen. Our first topic today is in regards to Michigan's Attorney General. She has charged 16 people in a fake elector scheme, and I want to point out that this is just one state, and the first state to charge these folks for faking the funk. But there were a few other states as well: Arizona, Georgia, Pennsylvania. So it remains to be seen what's going to happen there. But as for Michigan, she announced charges against these 16 as the so-called fake electors in regards to the 2020 presidential debate, basically doing Donald Trump's bidding. Do we have a clip for that?
Absolutely. I'm glad you asked. Let me go ahead and play that.
Elections are the foundation of our system of government and one of the most important principles in our democracy.
That was Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel moments after announcing the battleground state is leading the charge in charging fake electors and protecting election integrity. Nessel says the nefarious plot to overturn President Biden's win unfolded on December 14th, 2020. The group allegedly met in the basement of Michigan GOP headquarters, signing multiple certificates claiming that they were the state's, quote, duly elected and qualified electors. But their plot never materialized. Now, each of these defendants faces 8 felony counts, including forgery. Now, you might recall Michigan wasn't the only state that had a slate of fake electors attempting to do Trump's bidding, but it is the first to press charges.
Yeah, I just said that. Okay, so this Attorney General Nessel, here's what she said. The false electors' actions undermine the public's faith in the integrity of our elections, and we believe also plainly violated the laws by which we administer our elections and in Michigan. And I'm sure a lot of folks felt that way when it came out 2 years ago that these fake electors were trying to do what they do. Her statement details that these defendants alleged to have met covertly in the basement of the Michigan Republican Party headquarters on December 14th of 2020. They signed their names to multiple certificates stating that they were the duly elected and qualified electors for President and Vice President of the United States of America and for the state of Michigan. These false documents was then transmitted to the United States Senate and National Archives in a coordinated effort to award the state's electoral votes to the candidate of their choosing. Absolutely insane, right? Absolutely insane. When I first saw this, I said to myself, these people are adults. They're probably professionals. Are they kidding me? Is it the only thing that I was able to get from this is that Donald Trump must have told them it's okay, don't worry about it, nothing will happen to you, this is legal, this can be okay. Because I can't understand for the life of me how these grown people, professionals who are in these positions, how they do not know that that was completely illegal.
Yeah, they're claiming, some of them, that they've been lied to, duped, but I mean, You have to expect these to be reasonable adults that accepted this assignment, if you will, because it's clearly part of a larger coordinated effort. I don't know how you can get away with saying you didn't know what you were doing when they shuffled you into the basement and told you to not talk about this out loud.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Why are we having a covert meeting again? Could you
In the basement?
Yeah.
In the
Yeah.
basement.
And if everybody, we have talked about the show, episode we did on, was Jan 6th, the backup plan to a coup. We even said December 14th is when it kicked off. That's when the fake elector scheme went into effect.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything after that was trying to overthrow the government.
Right.
I mean, each of these alleged fake electors is being hit with 8 felony counts each. That's just Michigan. So, like you said, to open up this segment, I mean, it's amazing to think how many people across how many states are involved. You look at what's going on with some of the other investigations about in Georgia with a RICO case. How sprawling is that going to be? How big is this going to be when they start coordinating with 50 states? Because it wasn't just 1 or 2 or 3.
Right. Absolutely.
Very good point.
The video footage that you see them at the door holding up I don't know what they were holding up, IDs or something. I don't get it. I mean, maybe it's just me, but I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and like we said before too, they planned this out way before the election ever took place. When they started to see when they started to see how close of a race it was going to be, they immediately started hatching this plan of what to do if. And there's been on audio that I forget who it was. Oh my God, who was it? He was like, "Yeah, Trump is just going to go on live and say he won," and then that was apparently the plan. I'm going to say I won. Yeah, we're going to tie it up in court, and I'm just going to stay here in my White House. And you like a little child leaving? I'm like, no, it's mine.
That is his MO. That's all he knows how to do. And he looked for people that he can comply with his childish orders, his fear, his lust for power, and he got what he founded, or he got what he looked for.
And I also believe that these people, not just the fake electors, but all of Trump's cronies, all of his men, they must have obviously believed that this would work. And that he would be able to overturn the results so that then he would be in control of the consequences, right? That he would take away whatever possible consequences. I firmly believe that they thought that they didn't have anything to worry about because this is going to work. Trump's going to stay in power, and we wouldn't be brought up on charges. And obviously, they were sadly mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Well, he was trying to hand out pardons like Halloween candy. So everyone was under the assumption that if they got this guy in power, he would just show his love to them and appreciation with blanket immunity.
Right. Not to mention, you do know that Giuliani and Trump were in cahoots to sell pardons to other people for $1 million each.
It's a good bargain.
That's actually, it's been cool. I think it was $2 million each. I think that's pretty much been corroborated by a few people now. So
it's $2 million each because they each were going to split $1 million.
That's right. They were going to split $1 million, like selling pardons. Like I don't even like that. People say it on America. It's no big deal.
Capitalism.
Yeah,
really. Like this guy. I mean. You want to talk about a hustler, though? Like, that's a side hustle and a half. I'm going to be president. And then, on the side for weed money or whatever, I'm going to sell pardons.
And I'm sure that's what his people would say. Oh, yeah. Don't fault the hustler. He was just trying, but it's wrong. It's illegal. So hustler or not, it's bad.
Yes. And people still support him.
All right. I say kudos to the Attorney General of Michigan for being the first to do what she did. I was also overjoyed to see the 3, I call them Charlie's Angels of Michigan, that they all 3 of them won their re-elections. And now it is confirmed that they will make sure the 2024 election for the state of Michigan will go on legally as it should.
Yeah, I say it all the time as much as I can. I think this is the test that democracy needed in order to see how strong it is. And as long as, I said this last episode, as long as we get through next election and everything goes smoothly there, I think we may be in the clear, and I think our democracy will be stronger as a result. But
I think for sure, our democracy will hang on even more. But that's why Trump is saying if he doesn't win, then America is doomed or over, as he would put it, because if he does not win, democracy will prevail.
Yeah, you're not on True Social, are you, Esteban?
I am.
But
I don't really post or respond.
I can do it. It's like trying to stay underwater. Okay, you hold your breath, you'll open the app, and then when you get ready to pass out, you hop off and go, okay, I'm good for the day. Yep. It's literally what it's like.
That's what you do. It's a great place to poke some trolls, but you can't spend too much time on there for your own sanity.
For sure. Let me tell you what I did do about a couple of months ago. I happened to get an alert, a post of someone posting something, and it was in regards to Trump, and obviously ridiculous. I don't remember what it was, but I decided at that moment I'm going to respond, and I did. I responded to her message. I must have gotten like 100 friend requests from that, and I said to myself, "Holy crap! These people think they're going to troll me now because I said something that they didn't agree with, and I'm supposed to invite them as a friend. Get the hell out of here." And I also tell myself, don't go back on there. Don't go back. It's not worth it.
It's like a B movie. You got to keep going.
But yeah, we're going to be talking about Twitter True Social Part 2 here soon, or Mark 2, or whatever you want to call it.
All right.
That's what Elon should have changed the name of the company to. Should have called it
T2.
Social Part TS2.
All right, fellas, let's move on.
Sorry.
Next on the docket, we have Texas being sued by the Department of Justice. They filed a complaint against Governor Abbott for illegally placing floating buoy barriers in the Rio Grande. Do we have a clip on that?
We do. Let me play that for you.
Tonight, a showdown at the U.S.-Mexico border between Texas Governor Greg Abbott and the federal government.
I think you're seeing the governor do everything he possibly can to secure the border.
After Abbott put a 1,000-foot buoy wall in the Rio Grande earlier this month to stop migrants from crossing the river into Eagle Pass, Texas. Now, the Department of Justice says he has until Monday to commit to removing the barrier, or else they'll sue. In a letter sent to Abbott Thursday, the DOJ writes that the buoys violate federal law, raise humanitarian concerns, present serious risks to public safety and the environment.
Yes. They also allege that Texas has floated the federal law by installing this barrier without obtaining the required federal authorization. Also, that it goes against the Rivers and Harbors Act in clear disregard of the placement or unauthorized barriers. They've also done this because I guess there have been migrants that have gotten caught up in these barriers. Tell us about it, Jeremy, of this pregnant woman who miscarried.
Yeah, I don't like this story, but I did hear it, and I was hoping it wasn't a real story. But no, apparently on the border, young pregnant Mexican migrant was coming across, and they apparently laid traps that ensnared the lady. Okay, this is a little bit different. If they were actual, I don't know if they're considering the razor wire traps or if they had other stuff in there too. But this is to the point where it's inhumane. People are drowning. This young woman lost her child trying to work her way through this field of razor wire. And it's not like we're protecting against evil forces. I mean, these are just regular people. Yeah, they're from Mexico. So what? And I know we have different views on how immigration should work, but there's a way to treat people. You know what I mean? A wall is one thing, but razor wire and buoys that have been drowning people. And
I'm reading that a trooper claimed that they were told not to give migrants any water.
And they were also told, they were also told to push them back into the Rio Grande. Governor's orders.
I mean,
what's your take on this, Mike?
Well, a state that really doesn't apparently care too much about environmental issues is certainly not going to care about migrant issues and human welfare. I mean, I know they like to think that they're a life-friendly state and that their position is supposed to be one of love and affection for all people, but it's clear that when you paint certain people as less than human and you put out mouse traps, even if there's no mice, people are going to see the mouse traps and assume there's mice. You know, it's all about the language. It's all about how you treat people. If you don't want people coming in your border, there are ways to do it that don't drown them, cut them apart, and kill babies. I just feel like maybe this is for show. This is something that the governor is probably quite proud of, and the people he's showing this to are probably approving of it. But
right,
I like
just
to
like
think,
just like the bus loads of migrants that they're sending all around the country.
Exactly.
Show.
I would like
it's
to
all
add,
a dehumanizing show. That's what this is.
Exactly. And I would like to add that Greg Abbott is a pro-life Christian who, I mean, is allowing people to get cut up with razor wire and drown in the river and not have water. And I mean, because they do cross a desert, apparently. You know what I mean? And it's like, I'd be pissed too if I crossed all that way and there was, what? You gotta be kidding me. Hey.
It's all about how you define life.
Let me give my opinion. I agree with everything that you just said. Humanity comes first. Okay. It shouldn't matter whether they're an American or a migrant. You don't refuse water. You don't refuse help or food on a humanity level. However, with that said, and I agree that if I went through the forest for 2-3 days, I would be pissed off that I wouldn't be able to reach my destination because of something such as these barriers. With that said, I am one of those that feels those barriers were put there for a reason, to deter people from illegally entering the United States. And so a little bit of me feels like, how could these people come, see those things there, and still attempt to get past it? And then when they get hurt, or something bad happens, they then start crying foul that they're hurt.
I think it's just, I think it's more the tactics they're using. It just seems so brutal for peaceful people that are just literally walking across. They're not armed. Thnot the threat.
It does. But shouldn't some of the blame be put on the migrants as well? You know, if you're given a rule, do not go past, and you go past anyway, should you not bear your own consequences?
I mean, even the buoys without razor wire, like, I don't like the razor wire is what bothers me the most. Like, when you start cutting and people are almost bleeding out and they're losing babies. I mean, that's inhumane. That should be a crime against humanity, as far as I'm concerned.
I think it is.
I mean, if you want to block, it's your border. If you want to block, build something that prevents them from walking through. Don't cut them up and chop them up and leave them for dead, laying on razor wire, drowned in the Rio Grande. You know, there's other ways to do shit.
I mean, I think there's an element of desperation that hopefully none of us will ever understand. I do agree that if you're going to be confronted with a barrier, with a rule, with a sign, with something that says don't go through here, and you as a reasonable person assess it as something dangerous, life-threatening, you probably shouldn't attempt to go through that. I just think this again goes back to, this is all deliberate. Like you said, Jeremy, you could put up the barriers, but if you put up the barriers with the razor wire, that makes a much better visual if you're trying to send messages to certain types of people to support this action.
Right. And so I just basically say on both sides, there needs to be a change. The migrants need to respect the law, respect more the laws of the United States of America, even if they don't like them. They need to respect them more. And our own leaders and politicians, such as Governor Al Abbott and DeSantis, they need to find a more humane way or method to deal with migrants and not treat them like they're dogs or animals.
I think this just popped into my head, though, but statistics show that this administration has reduced border crossing by 70%. So why the razor wire and all that?
Yes.
It just seems like you're just being a dick at this point. You know what I mean? You're just being a racist asshole who has demonized the Mexicans for the entire. I mean, no wonder Texas has voted the worst state to live in. I mean, look at this. I can't believe we're even talking about this. I mean, we Americans, we're supposed to be a representation of freedom and unity and understanding. We're a nation of immigrants.
Remember that went out of the door when Trump came in and started caging them as animals.
Yeah. I mean, the way he treated the Mexican people, I don't know how any Latinos or Latinos support Donald Trump. It blows my mind.
I mean, he wanted to bomb them to stop the cartels. You can't just bomb sovereign nation. Oh, wait. I mean, I guess you can.
Apparently, he doesn't know. I
don't think he's capable of understanding that.
Yeah. Okay.
Or Governor Abbott either.
Or Governor Abbott either. Yes. All right. Next on the docket, Alabama Education Department employee charged with sexually abusing a young child. Alabama, Southern state, Republican state, another situation of sexual abuse. I wanted to bring this story out, or we wanted to bring this story out because we're getting tired of anyone who's not a Republican being blasted as a pedophile. When most, if not all, of the abuses that are happening are coming from Republican folks.
You know who's not doing this kind of stuff? Drag queens, gay and trans people. Like, I don't see any of them doing any of this kind of stuff. It's always the same story.
Projection.
And I'll just read from Fox News right here. Department of Education employee of all things around kids, probably, formerly chaired a pro-life group in the state, was fired and arrested after charged with sexual abuse of a child under the age of 12. Marty D. Cole, or Cole Wagner, 32 years old. And it goes on and on. I mean, they haven't gone into the actual allegations of it, but then, he was a part of a pro-life Alabama movement. He was part of, he did things closely with politicians. I mean, this guy is just another example of, they say one thing and they do the complete opposite. I mean, they keep saying we're the law and order and we are pro-life and, we're about, responsibility. And then you just constantly hear the opposite. And I'm getting tired. It's like a broken record. We hear this all the time. There's another one of a right-wing pastor that happened this past week who molested, I don't know if he molested some kids, but there was some sexual abuse involved. And it's just, again, the same story over and over again. But the Democrats are called, all of them, pedophiles. I don't hear a single Democrat calling all Republicans pedophiles, even though most of them have been falling into that group lately. They don't do that. And that's good and bad. They don't fight fire with fire, which I guess is good because of how low everything has sunk lately. Like, I don't want them to stoop to that level, but at the same time, they got to point these things out so people understand what's going on.
Yes. Well, the Democrats have never been good at messaging. I mean, you don't want to blanket call all Republicans pedophiles, even though the statistics may point a trend in that direction. But I mean, you could at least point out whenever Republican candidate or politician says that anyone in the LGBTQ community is a groomer. Democrats are groomers. Joe Biden's a groomer. You could point out the statistics of how many people, how often, almost daily, that come out to be these abusers of children are in fact the same people that are railing against abuse.
Right.
It's just standard hypocrisy. They can't seem to even get themselves out of this mode. They don't know any other way. They're just projecting what they are to scare people to keep getting votes. That's what this is.
You know, I keep getting upset about this. Then I always remember that we're dealing with people that they're not based in reality. I mean, we're dealing with people that don't even care about facts. They would rather spread rumors and lies.
Well, actually,
go with it. I mean,
I feel that no, they know exactly what's real and what's not. They know about reality. They choose to go by their deflections. They choose to act like they don't know, or to act like they're stupid. But they know exactly when they say something that's not true. When Marjorie Taylor Greene calls someone else a Democrat a pedophile, she knows that is not true. But the basis of the party has come together and said, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to try to get more votes and label as many as we can as pedophiles, so that people don't want them, don't want to vote for them anymore. But they know what
I agree. I agree. They know what they're doing, but the MAGA base believes it.
You took the words right
out
of my mouth.
Them. Like the puppeteers, the puppet masters know exactly, like you said, Esteban, they know exactly what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
They are manipulating. I don't want to say the worst of America, but they're manipulating these people because they know they can. They're gullible. They're in areas where there's not a vast amount of information. You know what I mean? They don't live in the same era as us. I mean, some parts of the country are still behind in a lot of ways. And they eat the stuff up because they watch corporate news. They watch Fox News, and they watch Newsmax, and they don't fact check. They expect that the news station that looking them in the face is telling them the truth. So they just eat the stuff up, man. And we can't, it's hard to fight with people that don't believe facts.
That's true.
Well, they're allergic to them.
You're right.
I know, right? Break out in hives, start scratching and stuff like a crackhead.
All right. So next we have Miss Monica, R&B singer. I love her. She was recently doing a concert. It was her and Ashanti, and she saw a woman being slapped or punched or something, basically abused, hit. And she stopped singing immediately. And let's play this clip. Let's show you what.
Superstar Monica is receiving praise after she stopped her show in Detroit when she witnessed a man allegedly assaulting a woman in the crowd. I want you to watch this moment. The singer jumped off the stage and into the audience to confront the attacker. Watch.
I know. Don't you hit her like that. Listen. If y'all don't get that up out of here, we won't even fucking play like that. You ain't no lady like because you out your mind. Say it.
I didn't want to see her hurt or harmed and her not make it back home after coming just to be a concert goer for myself and Ashanti, who was also on the show. You know, these concerts have become what almost feels like a dangerous space and place.
Yeah. You go, Miss Monica. She had no fear. And she saw a fellow woman being attacked, and she went to her aid. Very commendable of her. That she had no fear for doing that. Of course, she knows she's got her bodyguards behind her. So if anybody was to even attempt to even touch her, they get punched. They'd get punched out.
I think what amazed me is the fact that she didn't send the bodyguard. She just straight up was like, "Hey, that's not happening."
She's the real deal. She's the real deal.
Yeah.
She's basically saying, "I don't need no bodyguard, Nick. Get off of her." You saw she started cursing. What the f? Get that s out of here.
Women supporting women.
Yeah, and we talked about it before the show. Like this whole concert, that wasn't anything, but like these concerts are becoming dangerous. People are throwing stuff at other people. Cardi B just had an incident, which we'll talk about next week. But it's just like people are getting stitches, like singers getting cut in the head. People are throwing cell phones. And then, it's going to end up being that they're not going to do concerts as a result. They don't have to do concerts.
It's coming from? Where's this coming from? How did this start?
I don't think people know how to act anymore, especially, instant fame. All you need is a 1-second clip and you could have 10,000 TikTok views. You could have 1 million TikTok views. The worse you act, the more people forgive it if the result is likes, it seems to be. And I don't really understand how we've based our behavior on, it seems like a Black Mirror episode. Like they did one exactly like this. Your behavior is based on the number of likes or downvotes you get. And
I think there was an episode like that.
but nowadays, it just seems the worse you act, that's all that matters, because you're going to get the likes, you're going to get the views, you're going to get the sponsorship deals, and suddenly you're a sensation.
Bad behavior is getting a commendation these days. Bad behavior is getting what's getting noticed. If you're good, nobody wants to see that.
Exactly.
Look at our politics. Bad behavior has led to people gaining success they maybe shouldn't have, and people quietly not acting out like monsters. No one cares about them.
Yes. And a great example of that is Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? The bullshit and the nonsense that comes out of her mouth is beyond outrageous and ridiculous. But you know that she's doing that to gain more notoriety and
so she's the queen of clickbait.
Well, hey, she was in a rap video, and I think we should give her the respect she
deserves.
Played
it on the last episode, and we can only play 20 seconds because it makes me want to vomit.
Mike, it was hilarious. It's ridiculous. She's sitting in a king's chair.
Yeah.
It's
well, imagine if you saw an AOC do that, or any of the things any of these people
do. We say the same shit all the time.
But you wouldn't.
You wouldn't, because these people have decorum.
Oh my God! Speaking of that, Marjorie Taylor Greene had the nerve after she showed a dick pic of Hunter Biden to tell people to abide by the decorum of the House. I was like, "Are you on drugs?"
I'm surprised she knows what that word means, to be honest. She saw it in the brief before she got put in there on the committee, and she was like, "I'm going to use that word. It's a big one."
I know. They're like, Marjorie, just say decorum. She's like, okay,
yeah, just say it and bang together.
And she's like, what's that mean? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just go back and play.
Yeah, because she doesn't have any at all.
Well, if we could go back to the actual story for a moment, one thing that really bothers me is that you're in a public place and you're in a concert, there could be cameras anywhere. You're in a pretty close row that the performers are seeing you, and you just think it's okay as a man to start hitting a woman, which there is no time it's okay. Yeah. There's no reason it's okay. But to be able to just so easily do it in public just speaks to the consistent, persistent, hyper-masculine, over-misogynistic attitude that we accept from men. I like to think this guy got what he deserved from a legal standpoint after the concert. I hope he was dragged out of there and charges were pressed, but it's not okay. And we just let people act like monsters. We let men act like monsters. We as men have to hold these people accountable.
Absolutely. Thank you for
bringing that up, Mike.
That was a great point. Yes.
Yes.
We as men need to call that out even more. And in fact, so Monica, as a female, she saw that and she jumped off the stage and did that. But what about the gentlemen who were around him in the crowd who actually witnessed that? Would you have said something? Because I would have. You're not slapping nobody next to me and getting away.
No, I'm the same way. I'm fearless. So I'm not a fighter. I most likely get my ass kicked. But if I see a woman getting hit, I'm getting involved.
Yeah.
It's just not
without even reacting. I think I would just
first
without
of all,
even thinking.
If I'm at a concert, most likely I'm not alone. Number one. No,
I would
number
rather take
two,
the ass beaten than her.
Yes.
That's just me. You know what I mean? And I'm tired of this alpha male nonsense that's going around in this country. You know what I mean? Stop it.
Yes. On all levels. Stop it again with domestic violence against the weaker vessel of females. Stop it in the political realm. Just because you want to get what you want and you don't care about all the others that it affects, like the LGBTQ plus community. Stop the alpha male nonsense. Crap. It's crap.
We should all be sunning ourselves like Joe Rogan and all those other people. That's what we don't understand.
Yeah.
We're not getting the sun's power.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we're not tan enough. Us white guys aren't tan enough to be alpha male. It's like a requirement. You have to be spray tanned if you're white as an alpha male. I don't know. I don't get
Where'd
it,
that come from?
Not orange?
There it
now,
is.
most people choose a color on the human spectrum.
No.
Some people are like, screw it. Let's do
Mandarin
something.
grapefruit.
Right. All right, guys. All right. Let's move on to our next topic. This is regarding Twitter. And Elon Musk's new brand, new logo. He has decided to turn the Twitter logo or brand into an X, killing billions in brand value. And as you had mentioned previously, Jeremy, the stock market went down a lot on the day, that he announced that he was doing that. It's rare for corporate brands to become so intertwined with everyday conversation, right? But it's even rarer to see their owner announce plans to intentionally destroy their own brand. I mean, Elon Musk continues to shock us on a daily basis on what he's doing as a business owner, as one of the richest men in the world. I mean, I tell myself all the time, is he really serious? Is he really being serious in these decisions that he's been making for the last year? Or is he trying to tell the public, listen, he's got so much money, he just wants to show you how to play with it, how to waste it? What say you guys?
I'm like you. I'm almost tired of talking about Elon. You know what I mean? It's not like what I say matters to him, but at the same time, I like calling him out on his bullshit. You know what I mean? He tries to. I always say, like, yeah, he may have had some good ideas, but he's not the genius everybody gives him credit for. Like, he just buys other people's shit and says, "Hey, look what I got."
He's not an inventor like most people assume, billionaires especially, but anyone who owns a company, people assume that's the person with the brains, and that's not the case. That might be the person with the loudest voice, the biggest mouth, but I mean, this is another case of billionaires going to billionaire. The guy was born with a silver spoon or an emerald spoon, depending on, and he just doesn't know anything. He probably did not interact much with normal people, just whoever he was surrounded with. He was told he could do whatever he wants. He has all the money. He could buy whatever toys he wants. And when you have $1 billion and you could buy 20 yachts, what's the next thing? Buy Twitter, destroy the brand, and relive your youth, I guess. But I don't know what his plan is. And all I know is that he made a giant X on his building that reminds me very much of an X out button on a window. And I think that's what a lot of people are going to do very soon.
Yeah, I agree. Jeremy and I were talking about this earlier, and we were saying how stupid we thought, and others were saying the same thing. He just sent a cease and desist letter to Zuckerberg for the Threads, the new application Threads. How do you then go and change your $1 billion brand in the middle of a time that someone is threatening your followers. Another business is confronting your revenue. How do you do that? What sense does that make? Is that a smart businessman technique?
I mean, he undermined his own suit, if you will. You know, your making threads has damaged my Twitter, but now Twitter doesn't exist. So what is the lawsuit about?
Right.
But the Twitter brand itself was worth billions. I mean, it was iconic. The bird, the tweets, retweets.
Again,
like
you have billions, and that doesn't impact your wealth. Do you really care what happens to it if you have hundreds of more billions? It's more money than anyone can conceive, let alone the people who have it.
Why didn't he just take this new idea and create a whole new application for it?
Well, that's a good point. I mean, he keeps talking about this one app for everything. He's trying to bring crypto into it. I don't know what he thinks Twitter was, but it was a social media platform to post, exchange ideas, show dog pics, cat videos, turned into a political tool. But what are you trying to make it? You can't make it more than what it is or was. It's what it is. Make something else if you want to do that. Don't restructure an existing thing.
Yeah, it just makes sense to build something from scratch than to try and adapt. And like you said, make something that it's not. You know, I just don't understand the whole logic behind it, but I don't really care.
I don't know that there is.
I don't care if you. I'm not going to lose a night's sleep, not a second's sleep if Elon Musk is broke tomorrow. I don't care. And I hope, and I do have to mention this before. I don't want to talk about Elon Musk anymore after this, but I'll mention this. He is in trouble with the Tesla thing. Okay. For people that haven't heard this, Forbes magazine reports that Teslas were programmed, the software is programmed to give the full range charge estimates longer than they actually are. So you may say, if it says you have 400 miles to go, you don't have 400 miles to go. And that's fraud. That's lying. So all the advertisements, everything like that. I mean, but this is huge because Tesla's an auto manufacturer in the United States. So we're talking the Department of Justice could get involved. Oh, yeah. Lawsuits from consumers because there's all kinds of complaints. And if you complain to Tesla, they've been canceling your service appointments. What kind of dick does something like that? Yeah, seriously. If you complain, they cancel your service appointments. I mean, who does that? These are children like him and Trump. They're like grown-ass rich children. They act like babies.
Man babies.
At the same time, thank you. All right, I'm done with
Well, listen. Just like Trump and any other wealthy white rich man, if they do the wrong, they deserve what they get, and that's it. There's no sympathy at all for any of them. Okay, let's move on to Hunter Biden. Okay, his plea deal, as you wrote here, Jeremy. His plea deal has taken a shit.
Is that what I named the? Oh, is that what I wrote in the email, or is that what I named the file? I mean, that kind of sums it up, doesn't it? That's about right. I mean,
I'm sorry, but I had to bring that out because I'm looking at it and I'm like, wait a minute, is that what he just put? That's hilarious. Because in a way, I think. Figuratively speaking, that's exactly what happened. He had there was this plea deal that was set up all this time, and as soon as they went before a judge, it just completely fell apart and was crumbling. And the Republicans were just loved it. They were just so happy that this happened, trying to figure out if this would collaborate now their story that favoritism was being shown and it wasn't really right. But there's one thing that I wanted to point out, being on this subject, and then I'll get you guys' point of view. Why is Hunter Biden continuously compared to Donald Trump? Okay. When it is so ridiculously different, it's not even funny. You've got a president, you've got a president's son. a president, which is a political office, and a person who's never held office. A president who has allegedly stolen documents, bribed officials, lies and lies and lies. I mean, we can go on and on. And then you've got a private citizen who made millions of dollars from an international or overseas country. Why is Biden? Why isn't Biden, Hunter Biden, not compared to Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner?
Yeah, and we're talking about, I mean, they're saying what, millions, maybe 10. They keep saying $10 million. I'm like, Jared Kushner took $2 billion. B with a B. So, 10 million. Okay, but if, you know what I mean, if he's been investigated for 5 years, though, like under a Trump appointed,
they're saying that the plea deal was not equal justice. It wasn't good enough. But what are you looking for? He was caught. He lied about possessing a gun, but he didn't do anything with that gun, and he hasn't used that gun. And then tax charges. He's being brought up on tax charges. These are supposed to be misdemeanors. I couldn't understand why Trump's tax problems with his company, with the New York lawsuit, Republicans felt that that's not a big deal. That happens all the time. So many people do that. But now when it comes to Hunter Biden, they're not saying the same thing, where that's not a big deal. So many people do that. No, instead, they want the book thrown at him. I don't get it.
Well, the Republican Party platform is hypocrisy and deflection. I mean, we've talked about that several times today already. I think the thing that I try to understand about the plea deal being thrown out is, I hate to say it, I hate to bring it up, but the judge was appointed by Donald Trump. So we always have the assumption or hope that either there isn't a taint or a worry that there is a taint. Right. And one thing that I found interesting was her specific reason for canceling it was that she didn't like the broad immunity offered in the plea deal. She didn't like the language that implied immunity for any future prosecution related to foreign investments. But the problem is that they still were just foreign investments that he made as a private citizen. This whole hate that the Republicans and the right and MAGA have for Hunter Biden is based on the fact that he's doing things he shouldn't do, but he's actually been doing things he could do. If you take the gun charges away, you take the taxes away, all they really are worried about are these foreign investments that don't really apply to anything. So this judge didn't mention the gun, didn't mention the taxes, just happened to mention the foreign dealings and any future foreign dealings. Well, why are you going to worry about prosecuting him in the future for something he didn't do now that he's not in trouble for? It just doesn't make any sense.
I agree. That's a good way.
I don't know.
That's a good. I like that. But yeah, I mean, you want to talk? I mean, and if he did, I mean, foreign deals are legal. He's a private citizen. He's not the vice president.
They know this.
Oh,
through Trump's tenure, how many times did you hear them say, "Oh, it's my money. I made this. You don't have a right to take it away or to tax me more dollars to help somebody else." Well, that's exactly what Hunter Biden did. It's his money. He made it. What the hell do we care whether he had experience or not? That's not our business. He made the money. It's his money. There's got to be hundreds or thousands of folks who are doing exactly the same thing. But why are we browbeating him for making his money his way?
Right.
I mean, good deal or bad deal, he's allowed to make that. I mean, how many patents did Ivanka Trump get when she was literally paid on staff with taxpayer money while her father was in the White House?
While she had an office in the White House. Okay.
Yeah. Or Jared Kushner in charge of pardons for $2 million. I mean, seriously.
Well, Jared Kushner, if I'm not mistaken, he had gotten some type of a deal while he was working in the White House. And then he got a $2 billion plus contract with Saudi Arabia after leaving the White House. Yeah. All of it under the Trump's name. So you hear that a lot too,
Yeah.
right? You hear that. They're under Daddy Biden, and this he wouldn't have made all that money if he wasn't a Biden. Neither would Jared and Ivanka if they didn't have Trump behind their name. They wouldn't have made those deals either. China wouldn't give two craps who Ivanka was if she was not Trump's daughter. But it's a problem being a Biden. I just can't. I just can't.
Yeah.
Let me read this here. This is from one of the senators, Republican from Nebraska, who said that he's heard from countless Americans who are concerned with our justice system, that the system is being weaponized against President Biden's political opponents, while his son gets preferential treatment. There needs to be accountability for any misconduct or favoritism, including Hunter Biden's legal team. So he goes on to talk about having faith in our justice system and all of that, that this is being damaged by this. I laugh because I'm like, oh my God, does that not apply to Trump? Oh my God. Didn't we just go through 4 years of the Justice Department weaponizing themselves to do Trump's bidding? Isn't that why Director Comey was fired and the other one, McCain or whoever behind him, was fired and his pension was taken away because he refused to do the bidding for Trump? And now they're accusing of this same situation happening with Biden. I just can't.
Well, while we're talking about hypocrisy, let's talk about America's mayor and the deep shit he is in. Like, he is up to probably right underneath his nose, so he's smelling it right now,
and he deserves to be there.
Absolutely. But this is an implosion inside the Republican Party. Him admitting, because he was right there, so him admitting that he lied is massive, and people that bought into all this are even going, oh my God, you mean to tell me Giuliani was lying this whole time? I mean, obviously most of us are like, no duh, but right. Some of these people were like, he was lying to me this whole time. Like, well, we've been trying to tell you. But let me play the video before we start talking about it too much.
After Rudy Giuliani accused Georgia election workers Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss of fraud during the 2020 election, he is conceding his statements were false. This came in a court filing as part of a defamation lawsuit Freeman and Moss filed against Giuliani in 2021. The case accuses Giuliani, who at the time, you'll remember, was representing former President Trump, of publicizing a heavily edited video he falsely alleged showed the two workers somehow changing votes.
Tape earlier in the day of Ruby Freeman and Shay Freeman Moss and one other gentleman quite obviously surreptitiously passing around USB ports as if they're vials of heroin or cocaine. And they're still walking around Georgia lying. They should have been questioned already. Their places of work, their homes should have been searched.
In one of the videos we just watched, Mr. Giuliani accused you and your mother of passing some sort of USB drive to each other. What was your mom actually handing you on that video?
A ginger mint.
Uh-oh. There we go with that deflection again. So they,
we got it.
They deflected the ginger mint into fraudulent activity. It's absolutely.
And I love how they have to reference drugs. You know,
well, you have to.
He wants to talk about, African American folks, and of course he has to reference drugs at the same time to demonize them and make them look like they're criminals or something. You know what I mean? They do this stuff strategically, the way they do that.
These are all dog whistles,
Yes.
You could use language to evoke a response, to evoke an emotion, to evoke a vote, apparently. And, the whole thing about this was from day one, these certain African-American people are liars. These certain African-American people could be passing drugs. What is it with the obsession with the Republicans to have to demonize and make inhuman the people that they're blaming. If you want to just claim that someone did something illegal, do it, but you don't have to go the extra step and then call them names. Like, are they all just little petulant children? Is that what the Republican Party is? Is that what America's mayor has become? I guess so.
Seems like what it's turned into.
No, as she said, actually let's play the next clip.
Okay.
The last one. I think it was the last
one.
Play the last one first. Yeah.
The pair were falsely accused of trying to rig the outcome in Joe Biden's favor in 2020 when they were election workers in Fulton County, Georgia. In the summer of 2022, they went to Capitol Hill to share their story with the January 6th committee.
Ms. Moss, how has this experience of being targeted by the former president and his allies affected your life?
It's turned my life upside down.
I've lost my sense of security, all because a group of people, starting with number 45 and his ally, Rudy Giuliani, decided to scapegoat me and my daughter, Shay.
Okay. So that's the point I wanted to get to. She used the word scapegoat, and that's exactly what they did. They didn't care whether it happened or not. What they saw was an opportunity to grab these people and use them as a scapegoat to help control their narrative. They also underestimated these folks. Who basically said, I'm not going to sit on the sideline and allow you to defame me just for you to, big up your narrative. These two women went out and spoke publicly about the wrongdoing that was done to them. After all, they were getting death threats. They were getting harassments and all kinds of things that they had to undergo just because these two fools, Giuliani and Trump, did not care about putting two innocent women who are only doing their job in harm's way for their political disasters.
Yo, I just thought of something because Donald Trump has said their names too, hasn't he?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Doesn't this open the door to they can now sue him for defamation if Giuliani?
Man, defamation is a topic very familiar to Donald Trump, but it always seems to be when he claims it, it comes back on him tenfold.
But they're doing it right by going after Giuliani first.
Yep.
Because once they go after Giuliani and they get him, it'll make it really easy.
Yep.
I just thought of that. I just thought of that, man. Woo.
Yeah. So be
interesting.
prepared. That's a future lawsuit that Trump is going to be doing. You know, I used to say to myself, all of these lawsuits, oh my goodness, Trump is going to lose a lot of money, you know. But then I realized, no, he's not, because that's the grifting that he's doing. Yeah. So basically, his MAGA supporters are going to be paying for all of his lawsuits, all of his legal cases, his lawyer fees, costs, everything. In addition to paying for his rent, his cars, his planes, and his family.
Midas Touch Network reported that so far Trump has taken $40 million from donations to pay for legal fees this year.
He's going to get dinged for campaign finance stuff because I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to do that.
No, it's not his personal damn piggy bank. It's a freaking campaign fund.
Well, the grifter in chief is going to keep doing it.
He can talk all he wants. I saw the footage from his show over in Erie, which I really should have went and got footage because it's not that far away. You know what I mean? But it was empty. It was at least half empty, where like 8 years ago it would have been packed. You know what I mean? So this whole thing is falling down, man.
I guess MAGA is going to run out of money eventually.
The whole house of cards is coming down. Well, donations are going to start becoming more and more scarce. I mean, every piece of evidence that comes out about these guys is going to deter big money donors, and that's what they need. To win an election, you need money. You don't need popularity. You don't need good policy. You just need money from people. And as soon as the donors run, the Republicans are screwed.
You know who doesn't have money? Rudy Giuliani doesn't have money because he still hasn't gotten paid.
Yes. Every time I think about it, I just laugh.
Who works for this man? Who actually still chooses to be in the employ of this man?
He was with yes, he was taken advantage by his own friend, Mr. Trump himself, who said, "You didn't help me win back the White House. Therefore, all your work that you've done for the last 6 months and the dye coming down your head is pro bono, my friend."
And they're old New York City buddies. They've been in cahoots since way back when. I'm sure America's mayor helped America's building developer craft that name when it wasn't even true in the first place. I think this relationship was for a long time coming.
Remember that woman that claimed that she worked for Giuliani for like a year and he never paid her? Like she was supposed to get like $1 million a year and he gave her like 30 grand or something total. Like what is with these people? It's like, I'll pay you later. I'm good for it. Okay.
I don't feel I don't feel bad for none of them. None of them.
Not one of them.
Right. Not one of them. I don't feel bad for the MAGA supporters either. You want to continue giving him your paycheck? You go right on ahead.
It's the American right.
Yeah. But don't talk about your poor. Don't talk about how, whatever the government is doing or not doing for you, because you're giving your hard-earned money to a quote unquote billionaire, okay, to pay his bills. So you go on with your bad self. All right. That does it for today's Week in Review. Thank you guys. Thank you, Mike, for guest commentating today on today's show. Please come back. You are definitely invited to come back to the show. Thank you to our co-host, Jeremy, as usual, for your intellectual input. I hope that everyone will enjoy the rest of the week. I don't know if it's going to be the same as last week, very, very hot, but try to stay cool, try to stay hydrated, drink a lot of water. Okay, coming up this week, you will be seeing a couple of our sound offs throughout the week. Please tune into those. Follow, like, and share. As we always ask, the Week in Review today, as well as the sound offs throughout the week, and the Esteban Hours podcast Friday nights at 8 p.m. This Friday, I believe the topic will be on depression. We're going to talk with a gentleman who has recently reached his 1-year anniversary of being depression-free. And he's in a beautiful space, as you would put it. He loves his life, and he's going to talk to us about how he got to this point. Okay. With that said, if you had a goal or an achievement that you've accomplished today, don't forget to say to yourself, this is